WSOM Richmond.
Sound of music. I said the sound of music. I said the sound of music. Sound of
WSOM Richmond.
sound of music. I said the sound of music. I said the sound of music. Sound of
WSOM Richmond.
sound of music. I said the sound of music. I said the sound of music. Sound of
WSOM Richmond.
sound of music. I said the sound of music. I said the sound of music. Sound of
WSOM Richmond.
sound of music. I said the sound of music. I said the sound of music. Sound of
Welcome to Live from Sound of Music. I'm Bruce, your host here at Sound of Music Studios. Tonight, our guest is Bart Chucker, a man who knows more songs than anyone I know and has played to more people than the Pope. How you doing, Bart?
I'm doing great. I am glad to be here, Bruce.
Well,
and I've watched some of your past shows, and I'm like, man, I love his interviews.
I'm bringing the energy tonight for you, Bart.
And you're doing really well. I'm actually drinking tea, so I'm a little mellow right now. And I understand that you drink tea with regularity, but I don't.
Yes, but I usually have decaffeinated tea because I'm trying to calm down. But
Oh.
that hasn't worked yet, as you can tell.
Well, which is interesting because I don't drink tea, and I actually had to go through our cabinet tonight, and I noticed the level of stars to tell you how much caffeine is in there. I went for the highest amount of caffeine,
Oh, man.
but in my household, apparently that's only 2.
I'm gonna have to compare notes with you on that later, but we'll save this time for big stuff. So, Bart, when we were talking the other day, you told me you grew up in Clifton Forge.
Grew up in Clifton Forge, Virginia, in the mountains, CF.
What was that like?
It was fantastic. I grew up in this small town in the mountains. The best thing about it was everyone waved. You know pretty much everybody anyway, but even if you didn't know them, they waved at you, you waved at them. Everybody, pitched in. Everybody knew what was going on. If one of us was doing something we probably shouldn't have been doing growing up, there was some other parent or somebody that would say, "Hey, man, don't do that. I'm gonna tell your dad, tell your mom. I grew up basically in the '70s in Clifton Forge. Great town, great people, and really got turned on just to some great music, and just love the mountains. I still love the mountains. I actually cruised the mountains with my wife on Monday just to catch the leaves turn. But it's a gorgeous place. Clifton Forge, Cow Pasture River. The James River actually starts and begins right outside of Clifton Forge, Virginia, in Botetourt County.
I did not know that.
Yeah, and the Cow Pasture and the Jackson meet, and that is the beginning of the James River.
Oh, man. So how do you feel like growing up there influenced your music?
I'm going to tell you, it influenced my music a lot. Growing up there, we listened to just about everything. I listened to a lot of Leonard Skinner, a lot of Allman Brothers, but listened to Earth, Wind, and Fire and Michael Jackson. I went to Allegheny County High School, and there was a jukebox in the cafeteria, which was a big deal.
We had one too.
Did you really?
Yeah, Smoke on the Water, School's Out.
Yeah.
Edgar Winter's Frankenstein.
Yeah, right. Well, and of course, what's funny is I remember those days well, and we listened to everything. But I listened to a lot of Southern rock. I listened to a lot of country. Loved Waylon. Loved Willie. Loved, and interestingly enough, I'd say an influence of mine was a local band called the Mountain Magic Band. There's a guy named Booty Wren and some other guys in that band, and they played like in the '70s quite a bit around here in Richmond. Played all over, and they were kind of like a country but had some rock to it. And even though no one knows Mountain Magic, at least outside of the region in those days. They were every bit as much of an influence of mine as Skinnerd or the Allman Brothers or Willie or Waylon. And then, of course, what's funny is I didn't discover the Grateful Dead or other bands until later on. But I'm thinking about, as a youngster in Clifton Forge, listening to Greengrass and High Tides with these speakers that I had specially put in my station wagon, my 1977 station wagon with the paneling on it, and playing Greengrass and High Tides as loud as it would go.
Hey, did that station wagon have a rack on the top?
It did.
Did you ever have anyone hang onto the rack on the top while you drove 80 miles an hour?
I'm going to take the Fifth Amendment on that question.
I did that.
Yeah, did you?
That was great.
Oh gosh, I actually have 3 kids in college right now.
So you can't.
So
say.
there's a reason why I'm not answering. That they may be watching, and even if they're not, I suspect they'll watch the replay. So I'm unfamiliar with that concept. But thanks for asking.
Yeah, I just made sure it was somebody else on the rack, not me.
Yeah, right. Well,
so,
I was never on the rack. I was never on the rack, but. Fredericksburg, my freshman year in college, I do remember someone on the rack.
Okay. So now that we've discussed our earlier rock star behavior, did you start singing or playing guitar first, or both at the same time?
I started singing first. I went to boarding school for a couple years and really wanted to come home and go to our local high school. So kind of my deal with my mom and dad was that if I went to boarding school in the summertime, I could come home and go to public school. And so the first time I ever sang, I was up at a boarding school in New England in the summer.
Wow.
And I was hanging out with these dudes that play guitar, and they needed a singer. And my debut singing experience was Tuesdays Gone by Leonard Skinnard in the Choate Rosemary Hall talent show.
Now, before that, had somebody said, Bart, you have a good voice, you can sing, or did you just go, hey, I think I can sing, or I'm just going to try it with these guys and see if I suck?
Yeah, my sister, Kim, my oldest sister, she played the guitar, and I used to sing with her, and I just enjoyed it. I probably did suck, but she was too nice to tell me. And plus, if I didn't sing with her, she'd have to be by herself. So she probably was very nice about, when I started out. When I graduated from high school, I got some graduation money, and I'll never forget, we had skip day. The seniors got to skip and go to Roanoke. And in Clifton Forge, man, you go to Roanoke, that's pretty cool. And so I cruised to Roanoke. I had, I don't know, maybe I had less than $200, and I bought a Yamaha.
Oh, yeah.
And a Yamaha acoustic guitar. And the fact of the matter is, I got to be honest, I was getting ready to go to college, and people were like, oh, man, you bought that guitar and you play guitar because you really love music? And I'm like, no, girls like guys that play guitar.
I'm glad you said that.
I mean, let's be transparent here, I mean, I can play the radio, and that doesn't take much effort. But I figured if I went to college and played guitar, maybe girls would notice.
And I feel there were fewer distractions or fewer wonderful things to do back then. So I do feel like the guitar had more cachet back in the 70s and 80s for meeting the females.
Yeah, well, which is funny. You're right, because we didn't have the social media. We weren't glued to our smartphones.
No, I was driving around with guys on my station wagon rack. We had plenty to do.
And we've already established that I wasn't.
Yeah,
right?
Not you, but me.
Right?
Yeah.
And so it's kind of funny. I mean, I brought that guitar to college with me. I roomed with a guy named Ed Newman, who actually had a really good singing voice. And the first semester, he would sing, and I would learn. I was like learning these songs like Behind Blue Eyes and Time in a Bottle and Fire and Rain, Carolina, all this kind of mellow acoustic guitar stuff. America. I remember, Sister Golden Hair and Daisy Jane, and Ed would just sing the hell out of these tunes. And interestingly enough, people, our room was literally the size of 2 phone booths. And we went to the University of Richmond, and people were always in there. Ed was singing. What's so funny is Christmas vacation in January, when Ed came back, he brought the same guitar I had, because he's like, dude, I suffered through you learning how to play that thing. You're going to do the same for me.
Now, I will say that many a young person back in the 70s and early 80s, that Yamaha guitar was the first guitar of choice in a lot of cases.
That's right. And of course, now there's such a bigger selection, and you can get electronics in a guitar pretty easily, and it's not that expensive. Mine was just vanilla, no frills. I'm trying to even remember. I think it was an FG35, I think. But interestingly enough, I traded in a bunch of guitars recently to get the guitar that I'm playing now. I'm playing this Taylor.
Tell me about that Taylor, because that is sweet. I got to see it close up.
It's a all Koa wood Taylor. I really like this guitar. I traded another Taylor, which interestingly enough, I used to play Takamines. I bought my first Takamine on the way to a gig after I got this bonus when I took my first real job. I was playing at Barry's place near the University of Richmond.
Played there.
Yeah, right. I just told my son Easton and I had lunch there today. It's now called, I think, Bistro 804. And I literally said, hey, you see in that window, I played my first gig here. It was 1984. But but I love my Taylor, and interestingly enough, I traded a bunch of guitars to get my Taylor, including a Taylor I had before this one. But I've only kept 2 guitars, which I'll never get rid of. One was that first Yamaha I bought for $180, and the other one was a Jumbo Takamine that my dad got me before he passed away. And I'll never get rid of those guitars.
That's
but
nice.
I'm a Taylor fan, no question. I'm just a big Taylor fan. I played Martins. Martins are awesome. But, you know, this guitar, and what's funny is, you know, you can play the same model guitar, same everything, and not one feels and sounds exactly like the other one.
You are correct, sir.
So, you know.
Hey, tell me about your first band.
My first band, wow. My first band was called Tanqueray.
Woo.
And we called it Tanqueray because I was so afraid to get on stage. They had to feed me Tanqueray before I would play. And it was me, a guy named Chris Toolin. We called him Cruiser. It was 1984. And then a guy named Chris Wiggins, who lives out in Seattle, Washington now. And he was playing drums. And we were the opening band for these other guys in Barry's. And that was the first band I played in. And then, interestingly enough, I think what happened to me is when I did start playing a lot, I really played more duo, trio, solo kind of thing before I went back to the band thing. The band thing actually was almost, my most recent band was almost kind of an accident, you know.
That's the best kind, though.
Right, no question.
Let's see, what was I going to say? I do know you said, we talked also, and you said you recorded an album back in the day with John. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what it's like recording with John and how that went, and a little bit about that?
Yeah, I got to tell you, that was something in my life that was not only a bucket list thing, but tremendously impactful to me. Sound of Music at that time was like, it was kind of close to Comfort. It was off Belvedere.
Yeah.
It was actually on Broad. And interestingly enough, I mean, what happened to me was, you know, I mean, I can only explain why it was so impactful if I give you a little background.
Go ahead.
And that was, you know, I went to law school and got out of law school. I was only 24 years old. I took this job that was pretty demanding. I mean, I worked probably 70, 80 hours a week, only 24. And the fact of the matter was, for about 2 years, you know, I wasn't playing music. I just said, man, you know what? I'm quitting my job and I'm going to play music for a living. At that point, I was 26. And I think I told you this, you know, that you know, my mom and dad, quit the forge. You know, they were very proud of me, and they could tell their friends that I was a lawyer at this big Richmond law firm. And when I told my mom and dad, hey, Mom, Dad, I'm quitting my job, and I am I'm going to play music for a living, 5-6
Joining the
nights
circus.
a week. Yeah. They were so proud, and that was not the case. So anyway, you know, I played music, and I played music for, you know, 5-6 nights a week. And when you play music and you're depending on your rent for music, it really gives you some perspective. And it really was an amazing experience. But, you know, if I kind of fast forward on, I had gotten back into law. I got married. I had children, and then I had reflected back on this time, because when I quit my job, that's probably when I wrote most of my tunes, when I was playing music 6 nights a week, and I would play the tunes, and they were well received. But next thing I knew, man, I was kind of back in the race. I had 3 kids. They were really young. Had a job. I had started this law firm, and I was really super busy. And I kind of lost the music for a while. And then basically what happened on September 11th, 2001, 2 of my classmates were killed in the trade centers. A guy named TC, we called him Thomas Clark TC, and Mike Finnegan. At the time, I was like 37, 36 years old. And they were, same age. They had kids that were my kids' age. And it was freaking devastating. It was devastating to the country. But, if you knew somebody, it was even more personal. And quite frankly, what really happened to me was, I wrote a song for those guys. And I'd already written a bunch of songs 10 years earlier when I was playing music on the road and as a job. But then I realized that all those tunes I had written, I never recorded. And if that would have been me that lost my life, no one would ever hear them.
Oh, man.
And that's when I went to John, who the audience can't see, but I see. And I told him about this idea I had to record this record. And interestingly enough, I actually wrote 2 chapters, which were inserts to the CD, to my children, who at the time were like 6 months old and 3 years old, and now they're 22 and 20. I have twins that are 20, almost 20, and I wrote them, each chapter about 2 songs, and that was the insert of the CD. But I brought it to John. I had the most amazing experience recording the record. I was so busy at that time. And I remember my kid, basically saying, "Hey, Dad, so what's the deal? You're going to work, and then you're going to go to that General Assembly," because I did some consulting down there, and then you're going to the studio? And I'm like, "Yeah, I got to finish this record." And I was so glad I did that. And Sound of Music was just awesome. I remember David Lowery would walk in every now and again, and John would ask him, "So what do you think of this?" And so I thought that was cool. A couple of songs, I got John and David, listen to them. That was kind of neat. I'm like, "Hey, man, that's a cracker guy," But it was really, really life-changing for me to do that record. And you and I talked a little bit about this, but I'm not playing as many originals as I want to, and I'm gonna start playing more. I'm only playing like 3 or 4 a show.
Come on, son, let the light shine.
I know, man.
Don't hide your lamp under the bushel.
I know. But anyway, I guess to answer your question, when I recorded the record, which I think I started like in December, and we finished it up in February. And I'll never forget, John and I cruised down to the kitchen and at Chapel Hill, North Carolina. It's the first time I've been to Chapel Hill at that time. And we mastered my record. We mastered a Carbon Leaf record. And I remember we mastered Carbon Leafs first. And after I heard that, I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I don't even want to do mine." Which is funny because when I was playing music for a living, I got Carbon Leaf their first gig, which was opening it up for us. Yeah. Those guys are awesome. I miss them.
The kitchen's awesome because that's the best stereo you will ever hear your music on.
Yeah.
Like $100,000 stereo.
Yeah. I was, it's kind of amazing, when you have, producers and engineers and people that master, who are really talented, how much of a difference they make. And in fact, even, we've had some really great sound people lately doing some of our shows. And I always introduce them with the band because they do such a nice job, and they really, really have an impact on what you're bringing to the audience.
Hey, let's take a station break. I'm Bruce. We're live from Sound of Music with our guest, Bart Chucker. We're on our YouTube channel. Please subscribe so we can get more YouTube benefits for our artistic operations here at Sound of Music. Bart, I'm going to give you 3 questions.
Okay.
And if you could just give me your answer in 1 sentence. So I'm going to ask you to describe your 3 biggest musical influences, and then with 1 sentence, say why. Number 1 will be?
Number 1 would be Leonard Skinner.
All right.
Wow. I grew up to those tunes and just loved the Southern rock, but also how much preparation and work they put in them. People didn't know that, but those guys rehearsed literally 17 hours a day.
With no air conditioning. What's your number 2?
Number 2, got to go with the combo, since you're only giving me 3. Got to go with the combo of Neil Young, Willie Nelson, Jerry Jeff Walker, that whole country thing.
I got you.
This question isn't fair.
Yeah,
you didn't
I know,
tell me you were
exactly.
going to ask
That's
me
the
this.
whole point.
I know. You told me you were going to do this to me. I just didn't know how hard it was going to be.
And 3.
Grateful Dead, Dave Matthews.
All right.
I
accept
can't.
that.
It's so significant. I did that whole Facebook pick your 10 records in your life that influenced you the most, and that killed me as well. And you only gave me 3.
Are you like worried they're going to call up like they're your friends? You didn't put me on your list, Bart. Is that the problem? Do you know them? Do you know all them?
No.
Okay.
No. No. We'll leave it at no.
All right, man. We'll leave it at that. All right. Would you care to favor us with about, say, 3 of your own songs?
Yeah, I would.
We're here with Bart Chucker. I'll fill some air while he's getting his fancy Taylor guitar down together. That is one beautiful guitar, and it sounds awesome. I know y'all are going to enjoy it. Once again, we're live from Sound of Music with our friend Bart Chucker, playing some originals and talking about them with us. He's got John Miranda up there helping him out, crewing him up.
Without my mask on, sorry.
I'm about 200 feet from Bart, socially distanced.
All right. This is so me. You know, I couldn't find my pick. I finally found one. I haven't thought exactly what I'm going to play, but I think I'm going to start out. I guess I'll start out with my tune that I wrote for my buddies TC and Mike Finnegan. It's called "Feel Like," and they lost their lives on 9/11, and they were great guys. And it kind of taught me to try to live every day like it's your last. And so this song is called "Feel Like." It was on a car ride to their mother's house, on the way to tell her you were gone. Practicing my speech to her along the way, knowing there was nothing you'd done wrong. Feel like, feel like, feel like, feel like, feel like, feel like, feel like I just wanna cry. I just wanna cry. I sing America, home of the brave, family days and late nights with my friend. We wave goodbye, the mother sends them on the way. We look inside, feel like, feel like, feel like, feel like, feel like, feel like, feel like I'm singing this song for you. Feel like, feel like, feel like, feel like, feel like, feel like, feel like I'm singing this song for you and you and you. Feel like I'm singing this song for you.
Nice, Bart. Got a nice Neil Young feel going on that song.
Thank you, big hero. Big hero is Neil Young. But you know, that song was kind of the one that was outside that window of tunes I had written, and it's the one that kind of motivated me to go back in the studio and get it recorded. I mean, there's a lot to say. I mean, man, can you believe 20 years ago?
I know.
Next year, next September, I think, yeah, that's the 20th year anniversary. And at the University of Richmond, there are benches around this beautiful fountain at Puryear Hall that are dedicated to those guys. And every September 11th, I always go and just sit there and hang out for a little bit and think about them. So the next song I'm gonna do is called "Drinking a Beer," and I wrote "Drinking a Beer" when I left the law firm, and you know, I was living the life of a musician, you know, going to bed at 4 in the morning, 5 in the morning, getting up for the next gig, and it was a lot of fun. It wasn't easy, you know. That's a great thing about, you know, learning about a dream you have when you have the opportunity to live that dream. You're like, damn, man, this isn't quite as easy as I thought it was going to be, you know. But anyway, I was having a hell of a good time, and I wrote this song called "Drinking a Beer." And then when my kids were born, I actually did an intro and an outro, so I guess I'll do it. My voice is messing with me a little bit today, hence the T, so I think I'm going to play it a key down. So if my band's watching this, they're going to be like, dude, you're playing in the wrong key. But "'Cause if the world was mine to give to you, I would spend my time waiting for my son to come. 'Cause every day belongs to you and me. Wish away the things that you don't want to think about. Well, life too short to work every day. I left my job, I never looked behind me. Took me 26 years to recognize that success is nothing more than being what you want to be. I've had enough of the world as I know it. Well, Have you had enough of the world as I know it? Let's waste some time drinking a beer and wasting a little time. Hell, it ain't my lifetime goal, but it'll do tonight. 'Cause I'm laughing, hanging with my best friends. That's what makes us so tight. Drinking ain't my lifetime goal, but it'll do tonight. Drinking ain't my lifetime goal, but it'll do tonight. Well, the sun gonna shine just a matter of time, so I keep on keeping on. I like a whole road ahead of me. When you're rocking on the porch, I hope you say I wouldn't do it much different today than the way I live my life. Drinking a beer and wasting a little time. Hell, it ain't my lifetime goal, but it'll do tonight. I'm laughing, I'm hanging with my best friends. That's what makes us so tight. Drinking ain't my lifetime goal, but it'll do tonight. Drinking ain't my lifetime goal, but it'll do tonight. 'Cause if the world was mine to give to you, I would spend my time waiting for my twins to come.
Thank you, Bart. Nice.
All right. Yeah, that's drinking a beer. That's fun. We actually did a video of that in. It was really fun. We did a video of that in what was that place? Alley Cats.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, yeah. And it was so funny because it was like it was a video, so it was kind of, the whole Milli Vanilli thing, and that's lip sync for you younger people that don't remember Milli Vanilli. So I invited our fans to come down to Alley Cats, and we did a show after the video shoot. But we filmed the video shoot. And so we play the song that John did such a beautiful recording on from Sound of Music. And we play it, 7 times. And they shoot it, and we lip sync it, and, we kind of do it because that's like how, you do it. So apparently one of my buddies brings a friend in from out of town who had apparently done way too many shots. So he comes in to Alley Cats and he watches all this right before we do our show. And after like the 6th time we play it, he looks at my buddy and goes, "Hey man, this band sounds pretty good, but why do they keep on playing the same old song?" So, one more?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Fire away.
So what I'm gonna do, and this is always hard because I got to tune down for this, and I always have a hard time at shows when I tune down to like concentrate on tuning down but still talking to the audience. because I don't have like a bunch of guitars because I traded all my guitars, for this one. So, all right, let me grab my capo.
Once again, while he grabs his capo, we're here with musician, Richmond resident, Bart Chucker. Knows more songs than you do, has played to more people than the Pope.
So I've kind of, and Bruce, I told you this, kind of really gone back to this Americana style. Let me give a shout out to the guys in my band because I've always said they make me sound really good because they're such great musicians.
They are the ice on which you skate.
That is correct. And I'm not the icing on the cake. They are both the cake and the icing. But I have Jim Skelding on the fiddle, who's just a fantastic fiddle player. Bobby Jorgensen on bass, background vocals. Jonathan Storrs on the drums, and a guy named Mike Blaylock on the guitar. And I really have kind of gone back to this Americana-ish style, which is really my roots. I think that started in Clifton Forge, and I lived in Texas for a while. And then I guess I would be remiss if I didn't say how heartbroken I am with the passing of Jerry Jeff Walker.
Oh.
He's a huge hero of mine. I don't know if my wife is watching, but we've seen Jerry Jeff a bunch of times, but we watched him over here at Rock Bottom many years ago, right under the Huguenot Bridge. Mm-hmm. And we named our dog after Jerry Jeff. We like him. We're such fans. And I remember he's like winding chords up, and Michelle looks at me and goes, "Hey, Jerry Jeff, we named our dog after you." And I'll never forget. He just looked at us like, "Oh wow, that's really nice. Thanks." But anyway, this is probably my tune that I've written most recently. It's called Top Shelf. I've been thinking I'm gonna quit drinking soon. Maybe Saturday I won't start till noon. One of a kind seemed good at 23. Seems here lately something's got a hold on me. Let's put an end to this week-long haul. Head out to the country, forget it all. 'Cause everything feels a little better on a Friday night. If it ain't what you do, if it ain't what you feel, you're running away 'cause you can't make a deal. Everything feels a little better on a Friday night. I've been hurting 'cause you've been skirting me. And I got women as far as the eye can see. When I come running, you go somewhere else. Hey bartender, just give me some more from the top shelf. Let's put an end to this week-long haul. Head out to the country, forget it all. Everything feels a little better on a Friday night. If it ain't what you do, if it ain't what you feel, you're running away 'cause you can't make a deal. Everything feels a little better on a Friday night. Yeah. sure belong. I learned a valuable lesson that keeps me close to home, where the fiddle is singing, guitars are ringing too. Well, it's Friday night and I'm face to face with you. So let's put an end to this week-long haul and out to the country, forget it all. 'Cause everything feels a little better on a Friday night. If it ain't what you do, if it ain't what you feel, running away 'cause you can't make a deal. Everything feels a little better on a Friday night. Everything feels a little better on a Friday night.
Nice.
All right.
Nice melody, Bart. Liked that.
Well, thank you very much. You know, that's really not about a particular person. I would say in that song's probably Jeff Walker's greatest influence in my music. And Jim does the coolest fiddle intro to that. You know, I feel naked up here because I don't have my band. But the fact of the matter is, when you play solo, you know, you can't hide a thing. I was in kind of a, I guess, I won't say a funk. I'll just say I wasn't writing music, and this tune kind of brought me back into this kind of some level of creativity, which I'm following. So I'm thankful that the song came to me, but writing some more now, and so it's really been good, and certainly very therapeutic, given you know, quarantine and pandemic and everything. So I'm glad that you know, I'm able to create again. So.
Well, that was a good one to come back with. We got time for one more question. We're live from Sound of Music. I'm Bruce, your host. And we're here with Bart Chucker, local musician. So Bart, I know you were kind of delayed by COVID and things, but what do you see as your next step with you and your band musically?
Well, that's a good question, and I actually know the answer.
All right.
And the guys in the band will be happy to hear this, especially our drummer, Jonathan Storrs. It's been like, man, we got to rehearse, we got to arrange these original tunes. So the fact of the matter is, we've been working on this practice space in our bass player's house. And our plan is to really... you know, I play a ton of covers. You know, I played in a band 25 years. The only time we ever rehearsed was to arrange the originals when we went into the Sound Music Studio, you know, 18 years ago to do that record. So we're gonna arrange these original songs, and we're gonna come out and we're gonna be playing a lot more originals, we hope. Just you know, really excited to do that. I mean, for any of the folks out there that play music, you know, whether it's a job, whether it's a relationship, whether it's music, whether it's anything you do, after a while it gets kind of old, and you need to make an effort to discover a way to make it fresh. And that's kind of where I am and where I am with the band, and I think they feel the same way. So we're excited to do that, and you know, I know that we've got a really, really wonderful fan base, and I want to thank everybody for following us and coming to see us play, and the support, and thank you so much for having me. Like I told you,
most welcome.
I've been watching your interviews. I'm like, man, that guy is cool. I want him to interview me. So I appreciate you inviting me to be here. And of course, I will note that I never see John Moran wear a hat like this, and he has a hat like me tonight.
I know, it was interesting.
It's really, really cool. But then again, I'm drinking tea, and you're a tea drinker, so we're all kind of
We're out of our
paying it
comfort
forward,
zones.
man.
We're out of our
Right?
comfort zones tonight. But we had a good time. Thank you so much, Bart. Good night from live from Sound of Music. Can I talk now?
WSOM Richmond.